Hello everyone, and welcome back to Doomlink's Live Hunts. I was not expecting to be able to do 3 Ultimate today, which I do say essentially every time I start recording this game on a weekday. There is no expectation, because there is almost no one playing during weekdays. It is more of a weekender of a video game, when people obviously are assured of the fact in their own minds that there will be people to play with because it's a weekend, so consequently, everyone comes online and plays together. Whereas during the week, it's a lot quieter. It's just me and this guy today. And very bizarrely, the first thing that he said to me after we exchanged our greetings was, choose. Now, now he's saying, go? This guy, I'm telling you, is a little loopy. Why is it strange that he was being so courteous as to allow me to choose first? Well, in the first instance, he's made a G-rank turns room, that is the name of this room, G-turns. Or G-turns, sorry. Only one turn and then it's over. One hunt. So he's made a room, which is for G-turns. He is the host of the room. Of course, no hunt has yet taken place. And he's hunter rank 71, and I'm hunter rank 512, and he's letting me choose first. It's just illogical. I mean, yeah, it's nice, maybe it's a friendly gesture, I don't know, but he's gone and spoiled it by asking if I'm gonna go, I think maybe 60 seconds after he posted the quest, so I'm starting to feel a little less warm towards him. Anyway, yeah, more than anything else, I'd say that I can characterize this situation as him being fucking loopy. So, who knows what's going to happen during the hunt? It is because one cannot possibly know that one is left rather excited as to what might possibly happen. Now, I need to remember what was posted. It was... I really need to stop doing this, don't I? You people may think that I'm just fucking retarded or something. The reality is that I do put a lot of thought into vocal commentary, so yeah, that's why I often check the board and then completely forget. Let's just bring something that will be effective no matter what. We will bring the Pyro Demolisher. I am being 100% serious when I say this, but I think this may be the first time I've ever used this longsword on camera. As you know, I do not frequently use slime weapons on camera. Well, particularly Brachydios slime weapons. And I rather infrequently equip longswords. You combine those two things together and it means that 7 years of playing this game on camera has not yet yielded a Brachydios longsword hunt. Bizarre, isn't it? I just have a sense for it, you know? I just don't believe that I've done a hunt with it. And if I have done one, it would literally be one. Hold on, I need to get my chat up. If I can possibly get that organized on my lovely Twitch app on my phone. One viewer. Whoever you are. Anyway. It's alright, I do it for the VOD audience, don't I? I sure do. My beverage today is actually rather funny, and I will explain why once I get into the hunt. This guy is probably getting a little impatient now. He's probably waited for quite some time for someone to enter his room. But, oh, 2 of us are using slime? Well, this should be a quick hunt. We are doing Devil Joe, actually. Wow, I never used longsword on Devil Joe, and we're about to find out why. My beverage today is topical in the sense that I said somewhat recently on camera that I never drink liqueurs, and the reason why is because I don't like the fact that most of them are sweet, and they're intensely sweet, and it's unpleasant. I guess the topic of discussion at the time was that I do not like sweet alcoholic beverages. Now, I happen to have some liqueur here. Someone, an associate of mine, won it as a prize and didn't want it, so I've got it now. Very interesting bottle. I have to say that it is as dangerously tall and thin as it may appear to be on camera. It's one of those things where if you put it down on a table, you just don't want to touch it because it's going to fall. That's how it feels. A hot one just joined the fucking room. I'm just going to explain this to Leo. I'm saying, please kick Hot One when you return from the hunt. He is a cheater. This person does not deserve to be hunted with. I will actually save my pouring of the beverage for later. But yeah, even if literally 3 people playing this game happens to be, or one of the 3 people playing this game happens to be Hot One, I'm not playing with him. Well, I will. I may find myself in a position where I have no other option, but I would rather not. Leo says okay in response to what I've said, which is really encouraging. But Hot One knows what to do. He knows precisely what to do. He needs to go and make another account and try again. Because I'm going to be forever a regular player of this game. And evidently, I will be a regular player of this game during the time periods when Hot One wants to play as well. So his solution is to stop being a fucking cheater. That really is what it comes down to, and that will involve him making a new account. I don't know if I really have enough sway over him to get him to do that. But seriously, he is an egregious cheater, not in the sense that he's going around one-shotting monsters, but in the sense that, you know, he'll have like 40 skill points on a talisman, and then he'll have another 40 skill points on the same talisman for another skill. And he doesn't even try to hide it. That sort of behavior is just stupid, in my opinion. I mean, why play the fucking game? And on top of all that, he doesn't even make good armor sets. It's just pathetic to look at. So no, I'm not going to reward him by playing with him. I've no desire to do that. Now, even though I don't like using weapons that I can only use to hit the legs consistently, let me rephrase that. Weapons that cannot hit anything but the legs consistently against a Devil Joe are weapons that I don't like using. But even though I feel that way about it, you do get good trips because you're repeatedly hitting the legs. It just feels like you're dealing less damage because you're very frequently hitting a part of the monster that doesn't happen to be weak. So there you go. Hello, Kotoku and Peaberry. Yeah, it's Hot One again. It's what happens when you've got a small community. He's got a really bad name too. If Hot One had any fucking dignity, he would leave on his own. What I'll do is I'll sell it to Leo. I'll tell him to check the talisman that Hot One is using, because you better believe it, Hot One's not going to try to hide it. If he was going to hide it now, he would have hidden it already. So, yeah. I actually feel like I can't use a longsword against this monster as effective. Oh wow, I really fucked up my roll there. That was bad. But yeah, I feel as if oh, he left on his own. He left on his own. Maybe he needed to translate what was said. What he's probably going to do is make his own room and then pray that people join that. But he's at a disadvantage because we've already got 2 people in here. It's a standard G-rank turns room. And yeah, people are going to be more inclined to join the room that has 2 people versus the room with 1 person. Unless someone sees Hot One and thinks, oh nice, I want to play with the cheater. Because they know him or something. And they think that somehow their hunt is going to be better by playing with someone who's got a crazy talisman. My sense of what's going on there is that if he cannot make decent armor sets while cheating, he probably can't play the game very well either. I don't recall how he plays. He doesn't play horrifically, but he's definitely not good enough to make good armor sets, as I said, so I don't think he's going to make much of a difference to the hunt by equipping that talisman. So yeah, don't hunt with him, just in general. And it's not about the fact that he's negatively affecting the game and the people that he's playing with. It's not about that. It's about not rewarding cheating by just tolerating it and playing with them. It's actually not worth it at all. So put your foot down be principled and don't play with these fucking people. But it seems that Leo agrees with my sentiments, at least. Oh, there you go. I was going to try and roll through the tail that was oncoming anyway, but that was a fortunate face break. I do need to go and sharpen. Sadly, that spirit slash... is that what it's called? Whatever it's called, yeah. I guess final spirit slash. Sadly, it did not make contact, so... that was unfortunate. Of course, because we are both using slime, and I do have to thank the Rhinopolis for that fucking impudent behavior. Because we are both using slime, this monster isn't going to take as long as it ordinarily would with two people. So, even though I'm not so much a fan of slime being as strong as it does have its place in situations like these. And from what I can guess, we're probably going to be hunting with two people for a little while longer. Not forever, I'm sure, but... yeah, as I said, Hot One knows what to do. The solution is before him, and it is crystal clear. He needs to make a new fucking profile and start again. Build it up, and then play. I don't need to know that it's even him. All he has to do is not have stupid cheating enabled, or stupid cheats enabled. And I'll be none the wiser. I'll never know. Leo is apologizing for something. I think he must have hit me. I didn't even notice. It's just par for the course when playing online. Do I have a trap that I'd like to use? I may as well drop a shock. A pitfall has already been used anyway, so I may as well. Oh. Get over here. Very good. I'm not going to attack the head. The dumbest thing that you can do as a longsword user while playing with a hammer user is attack the head. That sort of insolence is rather typical of longsword users, I will admit. But it is not typical of yours, truly. The Doomlink. Whoops. Fortunately, I didn't get caught in the base of the tail there. I got caught in that, though, because I'm being unnecessarily aggressive. Aggression is important with a longsword, but again, I'd say that was a little bit too much so. As we know, longsword generally does not promote the use of careful strategy, or the implementation of careful strategy. It's more a case of hit the monster as much as you fucking can, pray for flinches, and get your spirit gauge up. It's literally a weapon type that encourages spamming your R button. That is the situation. As I have previously expressed in other recordings, I do it fairly regularly, that whole idea of longsword was just insanely imbalanced back in Tribe, where you were literally able to, as a hunter, just spirit combo endlessly, because that charge gauge wouldn't go down. You would lose your color, like the level of the charge would go down, but the actual bar that accumulates as you attack the monster, and which decreases as you use the spirit combo, did not decrease in that game, and let me tell you, it was a fucking nightmare. May as well bomb him. Take it easy. You're gonna... The wake-up hit is going to be that very weak attack that you just performed, which is the first attack of the Super Pound, very low damage, motion value-wise. And you also succeed... So essentially, you succeeded in waking him up with a weak hit, failed in dealing the wake-up damage on the bombs, and succeeded in bombing yourself. Which is probably the worst way you could have approached that situation, but that's alright. He's probably new to the game, so he gets a pass. No, he doesn't get a pass. He gets a Doomlink will tolerate that. That's what he'll get. It is strangely refreshing to use a longsword on this monster. I never would have intentionally done it. The only reason why I used a longsword was because I forgot what was on the board. But even though I would not have voluntarily selected this weapon for this hunt, I'm enjoying myself. And yeah, that was not a super fast hunt, but it definitely wasn't an obnoxiously long one. Alright. I will organise my beverage in a moment. I'm interested to see how this liqueur is going to taste. It's called Sambuca. There's a few ways in which I could probably pronounce it. In Australia it's commonly pronounced Sambuca. But I don't like Sambuca, it sounds a bit too Australian, doesn't it? Sambuca, I'm gonna go and get some Sambuca, mate. And quite frankly, that's off-putting. The bottle, as I said, is very tall, very thin. Maybe not very tall, I suppose. You know, its proportions are thin and elongated. And it is a textured bottle as well. It's quite nice. What does it remind me of? There's something else that has this exact texture. What is it? Because I don't remember what it was, I don't know if it's something that's universally known. If it were something universally known, I'd be able to use that as a sensible example, but I actually can't remember what it was. It was something that I used to... some sort of device that I used to use that had the same texture. I wish I could remember. The game keeps interrupting me. I want to pour my beverage. I want to see if it's sickly sweet or if it's actually tolerable. If it is tolerable, I hope you know what this means. It means that I'll be able to add liqueurs to my repertoire of alcoholic beverages. There's a bit of plastic wrapping along the top, so I will remove that. It's got a nice marble-esque top to it. Come on. Now, what precisely is the point of letting me rip off that part if the rest isn't just going to come off? It's fucking stupid. Can someone please interpret what has just been sent by Leo? I'm just going to give you all some time to work that out, because quite frankly that is so beyond my comprehension that I'm not even going to attempt it. I'm not going to attempt to make sense of it. Maybe he means I will change the weapon that I'm using. Maybe that's what it means, but why would he do that before he knows what the next quest is going to be? So therefore, contextually speaking, that makes no sense. Come on. It's fucking plastic. Oh my god. Now some of you would say, oh, why don't you remove the plastic before you do it, Doomlink? Create room I come. Oh, I see. He wants me to host the next room. I never would have guessed that that's what he fucking meant. I'm glad that he clarified that further, otherwise I would not have known what he was on about. Maybe he wants me to make the room because if I make it, people will be more inclined to join it because of my hunter rank. Oh, you can't even fit G rank. It has to be G turns. Fucking hell. 10 characters for the room name? What are you going on about? Alright, Marino. If he just did that to trick me, maybe he didn't have the heart to tell me that he didn't want to hunt anymore. And so he just did that, and now he's never going to come back, and I'm going to wonder where he went. Maybe he's lost. Fuck me sight. Do I have a knife? I don't have a knife, I have a bottle opener. We'll use the corkscrew if I can get that in there. What a joke. It's fucking ridiculous plastic. To be honest, I don't know if I even need to remove this plastic, but it's pissing me off. I don't want to see it. Here we go. Fiddly fucking thing. And then it doesn't even... There we go. Holy shit. Now, there's still a small jacket remaining, but it shouldn't actually inhibit me. Got little bits of plastic everywhere now. Well, hopefully the beverage is going to be more satisfying than the process involved in opening it. Jack visited the port. Oh, maybe... Oh, I understand. What he meant, again, multiple layers or levels of interpretation here. What he meant was that he's going to change his character, which is Hunter rank what? 278 apparently. Well, I'm going to ask him, are you Leo? It would be funny if it wasn't. But to be honest, if it were not Leo, then I can't imagine why it would take him so long to join the room. Yeah, that's him. Okay. Very well. You can keep posting if you want. Cannot even fit that sentence. Alright, let's finally open this bottle. I feel like everything is standing in the way of me opening this bottle. I do need to check one thing. Oh, this is a little cork, I think. It is a cork, okay. Oh, shit. Shit! I think Discord notifications have been coming through on the live stream, and I have a distinct feeling that none of you have actually informed me of this fact. Because no one said anything, and by the looks of it, it wasn't muted. If Discord notifications were coming through the live stream, I'm going to fucking lose my mind. I'm going to absolutely... You're going to see a nasty form of Doomlink. Awaken. You know, it's just the fucking dumbest thing. If that has been happening, I'm going to be absolutely pissed off. Anyway, let's try to focus on the lovely beverage, or perhaps it's not going to be lovely. It's actually not particularly odorous. Well, I guess I should say aromatic. Odorous as a term is not actually negative, but it does have a negative connotation to your average person, so I should say aromatic. It doesn't have much of a smell. We're going to find out. No, but seriously, if fucking Discord notifications were coming through, if they weren't, then great. It's just that I had a guy pinging me. He pinged me 8 times, and Discord was not muted, so if they didn't come through, then great, but it would make no sense if they didn't. Anyway. It's just the kind of thing, it's the lack of ability to control it. Once it's done, it's done. That's live streaming, you know, I can't go back and edit it. It's literally embedded in the recording file, so there's no way around it. If it's there, oh, 3 Diablos? Okay, if that's what you want to do, man. I did open the door for you to... Or perhaps I left the door open for you to post whatever you'd like, and that's what you came up with. I don't know, I'll figure out what to do. I'm sure eventually I'll pour this fucking beverage. In the meantime, I need to actually find a weapon that's going to be fun to use, but also effective in killing these enemies, well, these monsters rather, as quickly as possible. Well, how about dual blades? Ice dual blades. What are my ice awakened dual blades? I think they're the hatchets, aren't they? The Typhoon or whatever it is. Typhoon, yeah. Well, I wouldn't say that these are going to be extremely damaging, necessarily, but that's alright. Now, let's join up on this quest, and I'm going to sit down and make it look as if I am painstakingly selecting my food. Alright. I have my liqueur glass. This is a glass that I think I've only brought out once on camera ever, because I think I was drinking this coffee liqueur out of it. And yeah, it was alright, I guess. Problem was, it was really, like, sugary. Really sugary. So hopefully this one isn't. Anyway, let's see how we go. It is clear in colour. Blue bottle, but clear in colour. Let's try again for a smell. Oh, there is one, but it's very subtle. It's Very subtle. Let's cross our fingers that it's not overly sweet. Yes, I could have checked to see if it was or wasn't, by availing myself of Google's services. But that's not very fun, is it? I hope we did just get another person joining the room, because if that was Jack commenting, then that would be disappointing. Anyway, let's find out if it's a beverage that I can enjoy. Nah, it is really sweet. It is a fucking liqueur. That is a fucking liqueur. Oh well. Does it taste nice? I guess so. I've had liqueurs that don't taste as nice. But a liqueur is a liqueur, it's rather overwhelmingly sweet. It's not the sort of thing that I'd, ah ha ha, my console is loading, that means that another person joined. Very good. I will commit to this beverage, well, I'm not going to try to finish this bottle, I think it's 100 mils, is it? That gives you an idea of just how thin it is. This frickin' bottle, compared to my arm, it's probably hard to see where it ends, but anyway. It's only 100 mils, so yeah, it's almost unreasonably tall. It's obviously compensating for something. Pal MH3U has joined the room. I'm very pleased to see that we don't have to two-man this fucking quick. Oh, I'm already signed up on it. I was about to say, what? I don't meet the join requirements? What on earth is going on? Fortunately, I do meet the requirements. I am Hunter rank 6. That is reassuring to discover. I don't think most people really drink liqueurs on their own, do they? They either mix it with something or they, I don't know, have it on the side with something else. I just don't like them. I like alcoholic beverages that stand on their own. This just doesn't. But again, it's not really to my liking. Maybe people who like sweet stuff would like it. I don't know if I really want to have another glass of this. I don't know how much that holds. The reason why it's a liqueur glass is because it is so intensely sweet that you don't want to have too much of it, but I don't know. I'm not impressed, let's put it that way. Are there dry liqueurs out there? I don't know. I assumed that there weren't, but then I, for some reason, considered in my mind that perhaps there are such things and I just haven't heard of them. But I think part of the definition of liqueur is that it is a very sweet alcoholic beverage. Sort of a sweet offshoot of spirit. What are you doing, man? If it didn't work the first time, it's not going to work the second. How did you reach that hunter rank and yet still fail to notice that? He's hunter rank 400 and something, and he's reached hunter rank 70 on his second character. Why he thinks that he needs to make an alt already, I don't know. I mean, everyone has their own way of playing the game, I suppose. They're both male characters too. He didn't do the thing where, oh, I've played with a male character, now I'll make a female character. I considered doing that, but then I realized that I would be spreading my gameplay across two characters, which would leave me with two not very well built characters. I would instead rather focus all of my efforts on the one, and then only that one. Having multiple accounts in Monster Hunter is just a bad idea, because Monster Hunter is a game where literally the main reason why you would play it is to just build it to the maximum. Only people who literally have nothing more to do should make alternate accounts, and even then I think that there is value in continuing to play at that point. Just keep accumulating quests completed and weapons used. Have something to really show for the time that you've put into this game from one place. Now it's time to Sonic Bomb. Are you going to have any left to throw? Oh, fuck me, man. What can I do for him except to say, you're a fuck up? There's no nice way of putting it. It's been probably the worst display of Sonic Bomb throwing on a Diablo's hunt that I've ever personally witnessed. Probably bad luck in his case. I mean, some people who are that unskilled would probably at least strike a standard mode Diablos, whatever. I guess unenraged, non-enraged Diablos at least once by now, but he hasn't. So, he is both inept and unlucky. Pal, by the way, has already died. I don't know if he's managed to get a paralysis off yet. I don't think he has. As I understand it, he has not. Obviously, his paralysis build-up has been hampered by death. I'm taking a few hits, actually. Give it a rest, Diablos. I can't dive fast enough for that. Yeah, I'm so displeased with this liqueur that I'm going to immediately switch to brandy and then wash my fucking mouth out with brandy to get this flavor out of, or get it off my palate. Rid my palate of this foul taste. I'm not even entirely sure if it's a good flavor or not, because again the sweetness dominates the impression, and it's disappointing in that respect. I guess I'll just keep the bottle around for no particular reason, you know. If someone wants liqueur, you know, if I invite someone over and they happen to drink liqueur, go for it, man. Like, fucking go to town. Take the bottle. Take it off my hands. But, yeah. Just, I'm so, I mean, this is the thing. I never would have bought it on my own. I knew for a fact that I was never going to experiment with liqueur because I'd been burned too many times. You know, Chambord, Grand Marnier, there's several that I've tried and they were just all bitterly disappointing for me, and oh yeah, thank you. That's not a good place to drop a pitfall trap when the monster spawns in that way. Thank you, P. Barry, for reminding me that I was in the middle of the screen. That is not so big of an issue, you know. The previous situation where I was facing the wrong fucking way for almost the first half of a recording was a far more ridiculous mistake than that, and obviously if I'm correct in that I had Discord notifications coming through in this live stream for the first 20 minutes of it, that's going to be a fucking nightmare. You know, if I didn't have a friend that talks to me every day who sends, you know, 20 messages an hour, whether I'm interacting with him or not, in response, I mean, that makes it a little harder, doesn't it? But if I didn't have that, there wouldn't be a problem, but I do. Not that I regret his messages, it's just fucking nightmarish. I tried muting him once, and then, you know, it's a case of out of sight, out of mind. I just couldn't respond in a timely fashion, because when you do mute the person, you stop getting notifications at all. So either you get the sound effect with the red notification, or you get nothing. Maybe that's changed, maybe there is an option that allows you to have the visual notification but no sound. I'd love that. But, yeah. Discord, as far as I'm aware, needs to actually be manually muted as a whole. Or at least the application side of it, not the voice call side. It does split two ways once you're playing audio out of it. It's not voice call, it's audio through Discord that gets muted, I think. Well, audio that's not related to the application itself, if you understand what I'm saying. Anyway, fun topic of discussion. One topic of discussion that does relate to this hunt is that I've not actually been aiming for the horns. I have been of the opinion, and I am of the opinion actually, that if you don't break both horns in a Diablos hunt, you're basically wasting the hunt. It's essentially just a pointless endeavour, because the least you can do is try to gather some... I do need hard horns, actually. Come to think of it, I was wanting to make the standard Diablos lands, so I actually do need to break them. Okay. The impetus is there, so I'm going to get it done. Oh, beautiful. I'm going to try and not flinch you, Jack. This is not how you go about fucking hitting a head with a hammer. It happened to work, and I congratulate you for it, but really, that was just embarrassing. Look at him go. I don't know if he's just bad at using the hammer or if he's just bad at the game. It's hard to tell at this point, but he's hunt rank 400 and something. Do you know how many hours it takes to get to that point? And it's not even his only character. So what is he playing at? I don't understand it. Of course, to make it clear, there are two things that he could have done in that situation. He could have either gone for exclusively super pounds, or he could have done the spinning golf swing. Spinning golf swing being the better of the two choices, but the first of those two choices was still a valid one. But seriously, like, what the fuck? There was a hidden third choice. It was walking up to the monster and dealing like the weakest fucking attack while bouncing, and then bumbling one's way into a KO. This person is just... Maybe they think it's RNG, maybe they don't realize that the monster being enraged is actually a factor in whether or not it pops out of the fucking ground. I swear he's playing on his fucking brother's account or something. It's probably not even his account. I just can't believe it. I can't trust that he has made a hunter rank 400 and something character. Or rather has made an HR 71 character after having made... Not having made, having fucking built up a hunter rank 400 character. And he plays like this. It's just embarrassing. And there is precedent for that. I did play with a guy who was hunter rank, I don't know, 60 something, 70 something. I don't think it was this guy. And he was playing so atrociously that both myself, my audience, and the people I was playing with at the time alongside him were thoroughly convinced that he was playing on an account that was not his. He was just playing too terribly. He didn't even have the basics down. He was fucking confused. He insisted, maybe not in really forceful terms, but he did deny it outright that he was playing on someone else's account, but I couldn't have imagined it... What are you doing? I couldn't have imagined any other reality, any other situation. What are you doing, Jack? Oh, you need to get your calves, of course. So you begin to irrationally question every move they make when they display such, you know, extreme inability. Alright, let's just finish this glass. Let's finish it. I can't even do it. I can't even do it. It's awful. Ugh. So disappointed. Oh yeah, that's what I was saying before I realised that I was in the centre of the screen. It was the point that I had convinced myself that liqueurs were not worth spending money on, so yeah, if I was ever going to drink another one, it was going to be a situation like this where I had it given to me. I will keep trying different liqueurs if they are given to me, as I say. But I don't think I'm ever going to like them. Ooh, okay. My grandfather insists that my mother used to be a frequent Midori drinker. I mean, everyone says Midori, right? Midori? Well, you know, I happen to understand Japanese pronunciation, so I can't say that. She used to drink Midori. And, yeah, I just, that's like a watermelon liqueur. Makes it sound mild, right? But the problem is that the word liqueur clashes with that. There's nothing mild about a fucking liqueur. It's intense sweetness, that's just what it is. They are interesting bottles, but I've never tried one and I have no desire to try one. So, yeah. Look out. There you go. I'm happy to see that the horns have been broken. I'll see. I was going to go into the weak point. See, that is exactly the sort of thing which perfectly outlines a totally self-centered hunter. What does he do immediately? He charges with his lance at the weak point. The weak point, by the way, being really fucking tiny. This tiny little weak point, and what's he doing? He's charging into it, thus preventing me from going in there and attacking it. If I were to go in there and attack that weak point as well, I would have lost my ability to deal damage while the monster was on the ground. Because this guy was determined to not only deal poor damage in that moment, but to prevent anyone else from dealing damage to that part of the monster. Because, I don't know. He has no sense for how to hunt in multiplayer, I suppose. These people are not being actively inconsiderate, they're just incompetent. They don't understand the implications of what they do in the game. So, you know, sometimes I do accuse people quite aggressively of being rude or inconsiderate, but it's not that. It's just that they are ignorant. They don't get it. So I suppose if there's no intent to cause harm, then are they harmless? Maybe. Are they deserving of criticism? I don't know. Am I going to criticize them? Fuck yes, because I'm sick of it. Anyway, let's finish this godforsaken glass of Sambuca, fuck if I know. Back to my brandy. I'm still in mid-drink. These are from the same series, as you can tell. Designed by Per Lutken. I'd say the year would have been about 1971, 1972. And, yeah, nice series. By Holmgard. This is the, I don't know, cognac glass, brandy glass, equivalent of that glass over there. My fucking microphone's in the way. Wash my fucking mouth out. The irony is that brandy's generally a little sweet as well, but oh whoops, I did not mean to take any of that. Fuck. Oh, that was really stupid. I've been playing 4 Ultimate and other games recently, so I'm not actively avoiding sending things to my box. The only reason why I wasn't carving in that hunt was so that I could regulate what was entering my box, and then I just went and took everything anyway. How stupid is that? Alright, let's go and fix what just happened to my poor box. It's being invaded by things that shouldn't be there. Alright, let's make sure I don't have another extra stack somewhere. I didn't get any hard horns, by the way, which does bother me a little bit. Wait, I've got 2 Diablo's hard horns, do I? No, I think I know what's going on. It's not that I'm lacking hard horns, it's probably that I'm lacking other materials to make the second lance. I already made the Black Diablo's lance, so... Let's have a look. Yeah, I had a feeling. 6 fucking tail cases. Who has the time? I certainly don't. Fuck off. Good lance. This is basically your Black Diablo's lance of the older games. In the previous games, the standard one would just upgrade to the black one and it would be raw. In this game, there is a branch for raw and a branch for Slime Awaken. The black one is Slime Awaken. I think they should have done it the other way around, in my opinion. But anyway. You had a 50-year-old brandy on Tuesday. I envy you and your lovely beverages. I really do. Who posted? Jack. Oh, that's right. It is technically my room, isn't it? So it would be perfectly reasonable for me to coordinate things. I was about to say I didn't want to step on Jack's toes by deciding who was to post at whatever given time, but yeah, I don't have to worry about that. So yeah, we just went from this absurdly tall bottle to this slightly less absurdly tall bottle. Well, actually, I suppose if you think about it, this is even more absurdly tall, technically speaking, but in terms of the proportions, you can see which one is thinner. Anyway, maybe I've got a thing for really tall bottles, I don't know. Okay. Pao is putting something on the board. Oh, get that fucking liqueur out of my mouth. Lovely. I'm being cleansed. Cleanse me. Metaxa. A trinket out of the bottle. What the fuck? That's disgusting. I've technically done that on camera. Not with a spirit, but with a long neck beer bottle. Are you fucking kidding me? All-terrain terror. This is what you've come up with? Oh, thank God, it's in the deserted island. I thought it was in the arena. I was about to be upset. Actually, I was upset. I was genuinely frustrated. But then, I realized that I had no reason to be. I'll bring a status weapon. I'm not going to bring paralysis because Pao is already using the scarecrows if I saw that correctly. It's possible that he changed between the moment when I saw him with the scarecrows and the moment when he posted the quest, but I'm going to assume that he didn't change his weapons. Look, I can fucking check right now. No, he's still got them. I will bring a poison weapon. That's what I'll do. I think my poison dual blades are the Alkaid's asterisms, aren't they? Yeah. How do I feel about that? Well, you know what? I think with the status set, that would be pretty good. I'm assuming I have sharpness +1 with it, though. Yeah, I do. I hate that about it. See, I fucking hate that about all of these weapons that are already at max sharpness. Most of my armor sets have sharpness +1, so it just ends up being a waste of a skill. It's so frustrating. Oh. Can I get wide range on it? I can't. Wow, does that not look like a heinously shit loadout for this weapon? It sure does to my eyes. I suppose what that means is that I'm going to have to use it with standard damage dealing. I do still have Honed Blade, which is sharpness +1 and attack up, but it's not like the skill goes grey, so I can feel a little better about it. Fuck's sake. Alright. See, this is the thing. We just got done discussing how much I dislike sweet alcoholic beverages, and now you're talking about mead. maybe some mead isn't really sweet. And quite frankly, mead is just... It doesn't exist in this country. There is no one drinking mead over here. You'd be more likely to find people drinking, I don't know, sherry, Armagnac, shit like that, but... I mean, even those are fairly uncommon, but... Fucking mead doesn't exist, man. Doesn't exist. So the point is that I haven't really had personal experience with it, but if it's made with honey, I mean... The thing is, I grew up quite liking sugar, but honey for me was always a little too sweet in a certain aspect. I was never much of a honey guy. I couldn't eat honey with anything. I mean, I did. Manuka honey I didn't mind, because that had a... I don't know if you'd say a smoky flavour. It had a very distinct flavour to it that wasn't just this overbearing sweetness. I quite like Manuka honey. Probably even to this day. But in the case of almost every other type of honey I've had, didn't like it. So I can't imagine that I'd like a honey-based alcoholic beverage. I think I'd fucking gag. Well, I can't say for sure that it is a super sweet drink, gaming. It's just that it's made with honey, and I can't imagine a drink made with honey not being really sweet. When I was referring to something being super sweet, I was referring to honey as a type of food. You know, honey is very sweet. So mead must be very sweet as well. And therefore, I can assume that I wouldn't like it. But if you like sweet beverages, go for it, man. I'm not going to stop you. Just had a pretty good demon dead. I think that Harbinger saved me because I have a distinct impression that... Oh, yeah, that was not on target. I have a distinct impression that that hitbox of the fireball would have been sufficient to hit me at that angle. So I was getting that lovely hit stun on the head, but I was poorly positioned. I don't use the loosened weapons very often, do I? Considering how hard they are to make. Oh, don't tell me you've spent a whole fucking hunt. A whole fucking hunt failing to Sonic Bomb a Diablos. Now you're going to spend a whole hunt failing to Flash Bomb a Rathalos. Please just stop embarrassing yourself, I beg of you. Maybe I sound like I'm being harsh, but it's not. It hurts to look at. It really hurts. I have no doubt that this person did not build his character to Hunter rank 400. At least not in a legitimate way. He either grinded the same hunt ad infinitum and didn't actually experience what it's like to play the game properly, and therefore accumulated HRP without having experience to back up the Hunter rank that he ended up getting, or he's flat out used a character that doesn't belong to him. The thing is, there are different types of sweet as well. There are different intensity levels to sweet. Generally, I would say that brandy can be a little sweet. Cider can be sweet, and I enjoy that sort of sweet. But liqueur sweet? Honey sweet? Bourbon sweet? No. No thank you. Some bourbon's okay, I suppose. The only bourbon that I had that I liked was the one that I spent the most money on, and that was Jack Daniel's Single Barrel. And that's not hugely expensive. That's sort of standard pricing for a decent single malt from either Scotland or Ireland. But, of course, referring to whiskey. But, yeah, and why? Oh, that's right, it's a multi-monster hunt. For fuck's sake, I forgot what we were doing. I thought we were doing 3 Rathalos for a second. Rathalos, Lagiacruz, and who else? I don't know. All-terrain terror. Sky, land, sea, I guess. So who's the land monster? These guys going over there, I can't imagine that the monster has spawned yet. It's fucking laggy. My god, I'm going the long way. These guys are going the long way, but I have no excuse for going the long way. I have psychoserums and common sense. Anyway, I don't know who the land monster is. Who would it be? Devil Joe? It's not Devil Joe. I just remember it being a very generic lineup of monsters, so I'm surprised it's not coming to mind. Anyway. But yeah, there is a spectrum when it comes to sweetness, and my tolerance fails at about, I don't know, the midway point. I really just, I'm not into it. I went out drinking with friends, which I don't do often, because I don't go out drinking. There's a reason why, it's because it's fucking overpriced. And all I do is sit there thinking, God, how much would I save if I just bought a fucking bottle of this thing instead of getting a tiny fraction of what would be in a full bottle for, like, I don't know, a fifth of the price of a full bottle. Anyway, point being, I generally don't do that. And he recommended this Shiraz gin, and it tasted like fucking brandy, and I was like, this is not what I want out of my gin experience. And it was probably even sweeter than most brandies that I've had. It was just, I didn't like it, you know, it wasn't gin. I couldn't even taste the botanicals. He insisted that they were there. Oh, Paul has left the hall. Not actually left the hall. He left the quest, but he remains in the hall. Why? What's happened? I don't really understand. But yeah, I feel like the sweetness is so distracting that I just can't enjoy what exists outside of it. Especially in the case of that gin, I couldn't fucking taste anything except the flavor that I associate with the sweetest of brandies, I guess. Anyway. Maybe I'm just not a well-travelled gin drinker. I go for the more standard stuff. The recipes that have been going since the fucking 18th century, you know. Those sort of brandies. Pao actually did not disconnect. He manually abandoned, loaded back into the port, and then left the room. Don't know what that's about. Oh, what's going on? I thought I had sheathed my weapon. This is what happens when you're too busy reading the damn chat. Alright. We're two-manning at this stage. N10 has joined. Thank you. Sorry, I will respond to you in a moment, Force Infinity. It's just that I want to pay attention to the hunt as well, which I've not been doing sufficiently. I'm glad that N10 showed up, though. I don't know if he's watching or not. He hasn't checked in with the chat. But yeah, I'm assuming that he is watching live. Oh, how much would I recommend that you spend on a bottle of sake? This is a question that I can't actually answer. The reason why is because I live much closer to Japan than you do, and so I would imagine that I could get sake at a cheaper price than you could. I don't know where you live, Force Infinity. I'm going to assume America. I have nothing to base that on. It's just that a decent number of people who watch me are from America. So if you live in America, I would say that it would be more expensive to get sake there than here. Over here, I can spend what would probably be, again I have to convert to US dollars, I'd say I can spend about $60 US on a bottle of sake and it'll be pretty good. Pretty good. But the import costs over there might be a little higher. Australia has had strong trade with Japan, and we happen to be pretty close geographically, so yeah. Oh, fuck off. Apparently, A-Gaming thinks that $20 is an appropriate price for sake. If it's cheap sake, I would not concur with that viewpoint. I don't think you should have cheap sake. Also, get the dry stuff. Don't get sweet sake, that's crap. Don't get the stuff that's so cheap that you need to heat it, you know, don't do that. Have nice, either room temperature or cold sake. Something that stands on its own and that is tasty. Sake is better than wine, by the way. I've made this point before. The only reason why I don't drink sake is because I find it harder to get sake, just in general. And it's also more expensive than what I would spend on bottles of wine, you see. If I were to spend the amount of money that I spend on a good sake on a spirit, I'd be getting, you know, a bottle of about the same amount of liquid but at double the alcohol by volume, which I consider to have greater longevity than a bottle of sake. You drink it slower if it is heavier. So that's the way I look at it. It's all about value for money, and I only sometimes get sake. We are doing fucking poorly. How the hell? Well, I suppose. Even though he's one of 3 monsters, we're probably doing quite poorly. I don't know how well Jack is playing. He can't even use a hammer properly on land, so God knows how he's performing underwater. I have not been watching him. Anyway. A basic low-level sake, I guess, would be... I think it's called Gekeikan? I think it's Gekeikan. I'm not 100% sure if I'm remembering that correctly. I haven't had it in a while, but... It's just it's one of the standard ones, and it's nice enough. Probably a good starter. Oh, shit. That was a bad idea, obviously. I don't know how on earth I survived that, but I did. Oh, hello, Enten. I suppose I was right. See, I don't know if you knew that I was streaming Enten, or if you just popped onto the game and I happened to be here. But either way, I'm glad you're here. You're going to be waiting a little while, I'm afraid to say. We were abandoned mid-hunt. Oh, fuck off, come on. I hope that's our first death, it had better be. Oh. I think I've worked out what it is, so, sorry, I was saying that there is no possible way that this guy could have reached Hunter rank 400 and then made an alt account to Hunter rank 70 and actually have that first account, the one that he's currently using, be legitimate. In other words, his own character. But then I noticed the language that he was speaking. And yeah, I'm afraid to say that this is his character. It is 100% his character. If you don't know what that language is, then you should know. It's nothing personal. I don't have anything against them. It's just they can't play Monster Hunter. They really can't play Monster Hunter. It's shocking. I'll never understand it. Apparently the next monster that's going to come is in Area 5. He is no doubt wholly convinced of that fact, because he's already placed a trap preemptively. I don't know if the monster's going to spawn there, and I don't even know what it is. Maybe it's an ogre. I suppose he would be a land-based monster, wouldn't he? Come on. I have to sit here and wait for him to spawn. I'm getting impatient because I don't want to leave Enten waiting, and quite frankly, we've been in this quest for long enough already. Oh, it's Brachydios, okay. Well, I suppose he's fairly land-based. Although he does jump in the air. Technically, both Brachydios and Zenoga jump through the air a bit. But their feet are, more often than not, firmly planted on the ground. Rathalos, on the other hand, won't get out of the fucking sky, and Lagiocrus won't get out of the fucking water, so you know what? Compared to those two monsters, yes, this is a very land-based monster. Hello. You've done a decent job with your hammer there. I suppose I have to give you credit where it's appropriate. Sorry, I did not mean to flinch you there. I thought I was sufficiently distant from you. And thank you for that. He is somewhat redeeming himself with his performance against this Brachydios. Maybe he's fought a lot of Brachydios and has a good idea of how to hammer it. Oh god. I'm off target. Should have just pressed R to get out of Demonized. It's fine to sheathe to get out of Demonized if you need to travel some distance to get back to the monster, but that was not that situation. Oh god, damn it. I ended up travelling into the slime during my attack, which I could have foreseen if I were paying more attention, which I'm clearly not doing. Don't start your dancing around the trap business. I'm assuming Jack is using Awaken, which means that he is using slime against a Brachydios, but now that I think about it, that is a perfectly viable strategy. I don't think Brachydios has particular resistance to slime in this game, as stupid as that sounds. I just know that he's pretty resistant to blasts in the other games, like the games in 4th gen. But yeah, no, dive please. That would have killed me because I was slimed, and we all know how that works. I was not in a good situation though. Do not delay the inevitable, Bracky. Ow. I must have Slider. No. Oh, it's the rock steady, of course, yeah. I actually just wanted to dodge that with a standard roll. If you dive when you intended to roll, it's very frustrating, because if you intended to roll specifically, instead of dive, it means that you wanted to stay close to the monster. Whether you end up being far away from the monster or not when you dive, the problem with it is that you're stuck in an animation for a while. If you want to be close to the monster, it's obviously so that you can get in and attack as quickly as possible, which is not what happens if you're stuck in a diving animation that you didn't mean to perform. That was another example of precisely what I was just discussing. Fucking hitbox. Yeah, not a fun hunt, I have to say. But we'll get it done. I just really want to poison you again. I'm pretty sure we have already had one poison. If we hadn't had one poison up until this point, I would have been severely... well, my morale would have dropped like a fucking stone into the ocean. Oh, there's a limp. I suppose our DPS has been much better in this hunt versus the Lagiocrus hunt. The reason why the Lagiocrus hunt took so long was precisely because Jack couldn't really use the hammer against the monster properly, and just generally speaking our DPS was poor. But, as we noticed, he is actually using his hammer reasonably well on land against this monster. Which is why that didn't take too long. I'm glad we didn't hit the 20-minute mark, that would have been annoying. He just kicked me square in the testicles. Squarely in the testicles. I'm gazing at a star. I am the star. I'm within the star. Is that not the most inspiring thing you've seen in this game so far? That would have been a funny moment, but you missed. It shows that he's not especially good with his hammer. He couldn't even upswing a stationary object. Not the most well-practiced hammer user I've ever seen, but that's fine. As long as he's trying his best, I can't really expect much more. That is my 6th Rathalos mantle. I need to sell that Lagiacruz Hide Plus as quickly as possible. Because I have a feeling that it's in my inventory on account of the fact that it was forgotten. So the sooner I do it, the less likely I will be to forget to do it. It, of course, being the selling of the material in question. Come on. Ugh. Lagiacruz Hide Plus, that's what it was. We want to sell, not remove. Here it is. Get out of there. We've got a lot of slots, fortunately. But the only way I'm going to keep it that way is by rigorously managing my inventory. That's how we do it. Hold on. This is actually an example of precisely that. You know, you both are using the Vangus coil. Not, I think he's using the standard one though. Well, I shouldn't say the standard one. Oh, they're both using the... Maybe the G-rank Vangus waist piece does not give torso up. It's funny to think that you're both using the same armor piece. Ocean's Blessing. I have nothing against Ocean's Blessing, let me tell you. It's just that I don't have enough free armor set slots to be making a set for underwater combat. I just... Ugh. I mean, it is a nice set. Maybe I should. But I can't imagine what I would part with to make that. I had to part with my general use high grade earplug set. I had to part ways with my Guild Bard set. There's nothing left. All of it is stuff that I need to have. This set isn't that great, but I would instead replace it with a better status loadout. Rather than just making something totally different. Every single one of these sets is required except... I mean, maybe I could part with this set. You know, it's a luck-based set. That's actually kind of true. Okay, maybe I'll make an underwater combat loadout here. Because I technically don't need the Gold Rathian set. I've kept it because, I don't know, there is an element of sentimentality which prompts me to keep it here. But of all my armor sets, this is the only one that I would actually be willing to part with, so I suppose I will actually go for it. Lord Turn. Except that it's not, Jack. We have established that I'm not posting. Well, I don't know if N10 wants to post. If you want to post something, N10, you are welcome to do so. Otherwise, we'll just let Jack post. See, I couldn't be bothered changing my sets, N10. I just would not do that. I just feel out of sorts after that liqueur. just... ugh. Very disappointing. Ugh. The bottle's nice though. Old pass, says N10. Okay. Well, Jack can just post and post and post again. No, I'm gonna take off that plastic. I'll be here all night. By the way, that guy's messages have gone from 18 to 17. Like I said, it's very important that I mute Discord when he's... well, just in general. Not when he's doing something. I mean, his natural state of being is sending me 30 messages, well, let's say 100 messages in a day. Probably more, honestly. He wouldn't send quite so many if he just spoke in paragraphs, but he doesn't. He sends multiple small messages to get one thought across. Which I suppose is the difference between chatting and emailing. But anyway. Let's see if Jack has posted. He has not. He has chosen not to do that. Come on. Jack is standing there in stunned silence that the Hunter Rank 518, 513, and the Hunter Rank 999 don't want to post. Oh, sorry, this whole time I thought he was Hunter Rank 400 and something. He's Hunter Rank 279. I don't know why I thought he was Hunter Rank 400 and something. Still, I stand by everything that I have said hitherto. The rank of 279 is significant in a game like this. It may look like a small number, but it's not. It actually takes a while to rank up in this game, so... yeah. We're doing Nerves of Steel now. Double Steel Uragan. How about Greatsword? Water Greatsword, I suppose? Yeah. The Ancarius. I haven't had an occasion arise where I would be prompted to use this weapon in quite some time. I think it will be enjoyable. I do have to admit that it's not that great of a greatsword. Pun intended, I suppose, but yeah, it's rarity 8 and it has the stats of a rarity 8 weapon. I think it's rather a shame that the Cedeus weapons are as weak as they are. They're not actually weak. Like, this is not a bad greatsword. It could just be a little bit better. If it had a tiny sliver of purple, and let's say 1,200 attack, this would be great. This would be a proper fucking endgame greatsword, but it's not that. It's instead slightly lacking. And it's unfortunate in that respect. Cedeus is an Elder Dragon. He deserves to be properly accommodated for. He deserves to have legitimate, very good weapons. His tri-weapons were better, relatively speaking. Still nowhere near as good as Elatrion and Devil Drogue weapons, but they were alright. Here, I couldn't agree. I suppose what it comes down to is the fact that you fight the Goldbeard Cedeus in such an early level of G rank. It's literally your urgent into G rank, so he's treated as this really weak monster. I think that's a rather sad thing. This is a big Uragan, I think. If he looks big to me, I hope that he looks big to you and we can agree. I will go to that trap, I'm just gonna... See, this is why I don't greatsword Uragan. It's because when you find yourself in a stationary position, charging your greatsword, Uragan often turns his chin to face you. Whether he's turning to face you specifically or not. Oops. This Uruktor has the power to ruin my day, and I hope that he doesn't. I actually, out of pure fear and concern, dropped a level 2 charge rather than a level 3 charge. Oh god, let's make sure that we paintball the one that we were fighting from the beginning. I'm going to do that now. I'm going to do my best not to lose sight of it. Come on. There we go. The chin is broken anyway, but I hadn't realised that. Expand map, here we go. That's so fair. That is the fairest thing I've ever seen. Fucking chin slammed by the first one, or rather chin slammed by the second one, and then rolled over by the fucking first one. Uragan number 2 is vacating the area. Much to my pleasure. Yes, I know it looked like I just totally missed, and I technically did, but the damage was dealt through land compensation, I would assume. Is this G rank? It is. Okay, very good. Very good run. That's all good in Force Infinity. Don't know why I'm so tired. It's not going to be anywhere near as bad as... Thank you. I feel positively deodorized. But yeah, it's not going to be anywhere near as bad as those recordings in 3 Ultimate that I was doing at like 3 AM. That was dumb. That was really dumb. But... oh, he is sliding. Jack is hosting this one. And you can fucking feel it. It's really bad. The monster is sliding whilst stationary. Uragan on ice. Nope. Please don't upswing me, it happened anyway. Not that my request to not be upswung was going to be heard. I almost had the chance to roll there, or rather dive, in that instance. But it didn't happen. Yeah, I don't think I've been getting enough sleep lately. I think I've been having really late nights and only getting like 6 or 7 hours sleep, which is not enough for me. For some people, they're like, oh wow, 7 hours sleep, I wish I could have that. I usually get 8 to 9. And when I go a few nights without that sleep, it starts to accumulate. And what accumulates is drowsiness. Very good. I would really like it if that chin had broken. It wouldn't have mattered anyway because I didn't make contact with it, but it still would have been nice. Why does Jack insist on using attacks that do not have a mind's eye effect against that fucking chin? He's a hammer user. It is incumbent upon him to actually build up KO, and bouncing like an idiot is unconducive to that end result. Oh god, your flash bombing, your hammering, all of it makes me sad to witness. I'm genuinely sad. You need a fucking tutorial on a number of things. A number of things. Some people can be greatly aided through the experience of trial and error. Other people, they undertake the trial, fail at the trial, but then proceed to fail to recognize that they've failed the trial, and then continue unabated, as if nothing were wrong. I think that's the situation that Jack is in at the moment. Anyway, need to quickly check something on my mobile device. As you know, I try not to be too distracted by my mobile device while I'm live. And the reason why is because I'm here to entertain you. Oh shit, I minimized the Twitch livestream, damn it. Again, for the uninitiated, that means that I can no longer pause the livestream. Oh, fortunately it's still paused, thankfully. We're safe. If it had not been paused, then I would not have been able to pause it, because apparently the Twitch app does not function. Still good enough for it to have a 4.5 on the Play Store, or whatever it is, but yeah, it doesn't function. Hello, got a mantle. Excuse me, a pallium. I must get my terminology correct. Alright. That was not as large an Urugan as one could come across in the wide world of Monster Hunter. They do get bigger. Oh, I just realized that he's using the skull helmet, but he's painted it green. Why? Moss head. Ugh. Fuck. It's alright. There is a quick remedy for this. Anyway. It is Jack's... Let me rephrase that. As soon as I started the sentence, I didn't like it. Jack is perfectly welcome to post for as long as he deems appropriate. Good opportunity for him. Most certainly. As long as it's G rank, though. He responded with a smiley face. And the old style smiley face. The smiley face from, you know, 90s bulletin boards. Yeah. The old IRC chat days. Whoa. Yeah, it's very important. I mean, you need your face to have a nose, don't you? Fate and Fire, the volcanic version of the quest that we did before. Very good. All right. No. Thanks, Doomlink. You answered your question before the audience could even hear what it was. What a brilliant commentary. regaling us with it this time. Okay, I was going to ask, is the common element water? The answer is no, because Rathalos is among these monsters. It is not first-gen Monster Hunter. If it were first-gen Monster Hunter, water would be his primary weakness. It is not. It went from water to ice to dragon, if you can believe it. The flagship monster of the series, and they just couldn't fucking agree with, or agree on, the primary weakness of the monster. It couldn't have been ice in first gen because ice didn't exist, you see, so had to have been water. I actually assume that to be the case. I've never checked the elemental weaknesses of a first gen Rathalos, but if ice doesn't exist, the sensible primary weakness would therefore be water. But it's sort of silly. The logic is, oh well, he breathes fire, so water's his weakness. He's red, so his weakness is water. I don't know if that's the logic. I hope it's not. I hope it's a little more well thought out than that. Yeah, sure, let's just do the Shining Ishtar, why not? This is a respectable gun lance. And I have no reason to resist the temptation to use it, semi-frequently. Well, actually, yeah. A common weakness would be dragon, wouldn't it? Hold on. Well, except for Volvidon. Yeah, you know what? I will bring... Aha. Do I have... And I think I do. The Stygian Gun Lance, which requires Awaken. I think I do. Maybe not in this game. I don't think it even requires Awaken in the other games, but let's have a look, shall we? Yes, I do. Stygian Avaritia, I think that's it. Now that's a fucking gun lance. I don't think I've been able to use this yet, because I keep forgetting that it exists. And I apparently keep forgetting where it's located in my bloody box. One thing that's worth mentioning is that as far as dragon weapons go in this game, Stygian has some of the best. You just need to get Awaken, and in terms of how they're balanced, they are really fucking good. Really good. Do other monsters change elemental weaknesses through the series that much? No. Not really. Usually, like most monsters will change elemental weaknesses twice maximum. It's uncommon to get literally a different elemental weakness almost every game. There are a number of examples. You've got another obvious one like Nagakuga. The primary weakness used to be fire, back when he was first introduced in Freedom Unite. It then changed to thunder in Portable Third, and that remained consistent throughout the series afterwards. Thereafter. And, oh, did I eat? I don't think I did. Whatever, I've got max potions. One would obviously assume. You've also got, say, Silver Rathalos, for example. Silver Rathalos in... I can't speak for Monster Hunter G, I don't know his Monster Hunter G weaknesses, but in Monster Hunter Freedom 2 and Freedom Unite, he was equally weak to Thunder and Dragon. No, he was equally weak to Water and Dragon, sorry. No, get your fucking brain in gear, please, Doomlink, for the love of God. Stop being so obsessed with using the word dragon. Pretend that nothing of what I said previously was spoken. Let's start afresh. In Monster Hunter Freedom 2 and Monster Hunter Freedom Unite, Silver Rathalos is equally weak to Water and Thunder. In Portable Third, he is primarily weak to Thunder. In this game, which is chronologically speaking the next game to have Silver Rathalos, he is primarily weak to water, and he remains primarily weak to water throughout the series thereafter. And I don't know why they just can't fucking agree You know what it is? It probably has to do with the weapons that are available in the game in question. That's probably what influences what should be the primary weakness of a particular monster. I can't see any other factor at play other than that. And then I suppose you've also got the factor of indecisiveness on the part of Capcom, but I do think that the weapons that are available in the game will affect that. So... And of course one would ask, well, from a balancing perspective, how could it make sense that you would have the primary weakness be Thunder in Portable Third, considering that in Portable Third you had Zenogre weapons which were ridiculously strong and Thunder-based? Well, this is the point. Portable Third was designed to be as easy as possible. That was literally what they were going for, I think. They wanted the easiest possible expression of the traditional formula, which for some people was utterly unpalatable. For me, I didn't mind because it wasn't about difficulty. That's not what made me buy a new Monster Hunter game. What made me buy a new Monster Hunter game was building my character, experiencing new monsters, crafting new weapons, and all of that. And the mechanics of the game remained. They were as they had always been, but maybe a little improved in certain respects. But generally speaking, yeah, they just made it a really fucking easy game, which for some people was too much to handle. But yeah, that's how that was. Zenogre weapons were disgustingly good in Portable Third. But you can see why they took that route. It's because Zenogre was the flagship monster. They wanted the flagship monster to have really good weapons. They wanted to encourage people to go out and hunt a Zenogre for those really good Thunder weapons. I suppose the way you'd look at it is, hey, these are elemental weapons, so technically they're not going to be good against literally every monster. Oh, but we can change that. We can just give them really fucking good sharpness and really good raw, as well as elemental damage, and just make them kind of good against everything. That's Portable Third in a nutshell. And sadly Tri as well, when you consider purple sharpness existing in a high rank game. The only reason why purple sharpness existed in Tri was because Alpha Team didn't have the presence of mind to realise that just because purple sharpness had been introduced didn't mean that it had to be brought into the next high rank game. Like, yeah, it was introduced in a G rank game. Is it balanced to have such powerful sharpness levels in a high rank game? The answer to that was fuck no. But they did it, and they had to do it, which is something that I hate about Capcom. They had to do it and make a game with it before they realised that it was a terrible idea. As if they couldn't possibly A, conceive of what could go wrong before it went wrong, or B, try it, have someone play the game in a very base form, or basic form, and give their impressions, like, is this too easy? Is this too strong? They don't do that. They literally just go based on a weak assumption, and roll with it for an entire game. Sometimes they'll actually roll with it for the G-rank version of the game in question as well. Fortunately, that wasn't the case here, because the issue relates specifically to the fact that it was a high-rank game. We did obviously get purple sharpness here in Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, as one would hope and expect. But, fucking hell. I just wish that Capcom didn't have to fuck up and have all of us experience their fuck up before they realised that it wasn't a good idea. They need some sort of better testing environment than us. Because when the testing environment becomes us, that's not a game that can be updated. It is these days with the modern Monster Hunter games, and they still can't fucking get it right. That's why they threw the balancing out, it's because they can't possibly get it right. They're so fucking incompetent, so incapable of balancing their Monster Hunter games that they were like, well, fuck it. We can literally balance this at will. We can actually sit here and say, we're going to update this now. We're going to change this right here, right now. This thing's not going to do as much damage now because it's too strong. But they still can't get it right. They still can't do it. So yeah, they threw out the balancing. in a way of, or in a form of expression to suggest that they just admit that they can't do it. I don't know, there was a wider point that I was making there, but I got a little sidetracked. The point is that they are inconsistent, not just because they're indecisive, but because they cannot balance a game properly. That's one of the reasons why they can't get consistent elemental weaknesses. They don't know what the fuck they're doing half the time. And this is something that I always say. Whether it catches on within the community or not, I couldn't say. Maybe one day it will, but this is my impression of Monster Hunter. The beauty of Monster Hunter is not in the application of the formula, it is the formula in and of itself. That is where the beauty of Monster Hunter lies. That is in direct reference to generations 1 through 4. They threw the fucking formula out the window with 5th gen. They got the ball rolling with World and then completely threw the baby out with the bathwater in Rise, while simultaneously insulting everyone and then having 50% of the people who could have possibly been insulted not even realizing that they had actually just been insulted in the most blatant way possible. But the point is that the first 4 generations of Monster Hunter, in my mind, all had something really wrong with them. Something just painfully wrong with them, but because the formula was so good, because all the things that did worked so beautifully, it actually counterbalanced the parts that were fucked up about each game individually. The game that I'm playing right now, I've said this time and time again, my favourite Monster Hunter game, that is 3 Ultimate. I will comfortably tell you that this is my favourite game in the series. I could sit here and talk about what's wrong with it all day. There are a lot of things wrong with this fucking game. What it comes down to is what you value. What do you value in a game? It's that subjective perspective that allows one Monster Hunter game to be more or less favourable than another to different people. There are so many things wrong with Freedom Unite, but to some people it's the best. You know, they cleaned up most of the issues with 1st and 2nd gen, hard to imagine I know for those who haven't played the games that came before it, but they cleaned up so much, and yet they still retained everything that was special about truly classical Monster Hunter. So in some people's eyes, that's literally the pinnacle of Monster Hunter. But to other people, it's still not as good as 3rd gen. 3rd gen cleaned it up to the point that it should have been cleaned up. And then other people feel that 4 Ultimate had a level of dynamic, I guess, combat and game systems that, of course it was better than everything that came before it because it was a linear improvement, whereas I would say that that's probably not the case. You know, there's that aspect of it, but there's also the fact that some people may not really care that slime is ridiculously overpowered in this game. Some people may not care that Freedom Unite has terrible hitboxes. And yeah, Freedom Unite is unique in that respect. I mean, the Plesioth didn't have that really fucking awful hitbox in 1st gen. I think that was a Freedom 2 thing. If not Freedom 2, then it was a Freedom Unite thing, but I think it was a Freedom 2 thing specifically, which carried on into Freedom Unite. You know, that game had really bad hitboxes. Some people don't find that to be enough of a problem for it to not be their favourite game. Portable 3rd was really fucking easy. Some people are bothered by that, other people aren't. I'm not bothered by it because I don't value the difficulty of the Monster Hunter game as much as other people do. I value other things. You know, for instance, the changes that were made in 5th generation do result in an easier video game, but it's not the fact that the game has been made easier that bothers me. It's that it has been streamlined, it has been simplified, and I'm not going to use that as an entrance point into that line of discussion, because I'm not going to have that discussion today. And I would rather not have it ever again. But that's the point. There is something seriously wrong with every single Monster Hunter game. I mean, look at 4 Ultimate. I fucking hate the Guild Quest system, the Whitestone system. I hate the fact that mounting is so strong, but I love that game these days. In the past, I was left rather jaded by the fact that the Guild Quest system was dominating the end game, but, you know, I've come to terms with that now, and I can enjoy the game as it is. Initially, I was pretty disappointed with styles in Generations Ultimate, but that's not affecting my ability to enjoy the game. Maybe some people would just be overwhelmed by just how many villager requests there are in Generations Ultimate, and maybe they would hate, I don't know, what else? The fact that Charge Blade was utterly neutered in that game, and that affects their ability to enjoy it. This is the thing, in every single one of those games, there is either an actual mistake or a dodgy balancing decision. Something that's difficult to make sense of. Something that's difficult to even imagine that it was intended, but it probably was. Oh yeah, one of the biggest issues with this game, of course, and I should mention that as the chief grievance among all other grievances that one could possibly have with 3 Ultimate, it is the fact that your charm table remains static. You make your character, and that's the charm table that you're on, permanently. That is the worst problem with this game, absolutely. But you know, I got lucky, didn't I? I started playing this game before I knew that the charm tables were static. I didn't realize, I had no idea. And by the time I found out, it certainly didn't negatively impact my gameplay because I happened to be on a good table. Maybe I would have really felt differently about this game had I made my character on a cursed table. Who knows? This is the point. Yeah, this is a great game, but God, there's so many things wrong with it. But I can say that exact phrase, I can use those exact words, no matter what game I choose to be my favorite in the first 4 generations of Monster Hunter. So there you go. Well, thank you, Baines. It's very good of you to raid me. At least I'm playing a Monster Hunter game, because that way it's actually relevant to what you were playing, unless you also found yourself playing a different game. I do need to read what Force Infinity was saying, because he was writing something. Yeah, well, the Portable 30 is obviously a very casual experience, but at least it's still fundamentally Monster Hunter. It may be fundamentally Monster Hunter, but it's too easy for some people to be able to stomach it. In my case, doesn't especially matter. N10, if you do have a quest that you'd like to post, you are welcome to post it. Oh, I have a feeling that you do have a quest in mind. You've gone and changed your equipment. The Dirty Graph. That's actually a decent sword and shield. 550 poison, 373 attack. I can only assume that the sharpness must kind of suck, because I think you would need that to balance it out. Oh, you're playing God Eater. Okay. Well, that's right. Isn't this your 4th God Eater stream in 24 hours or something like that? Maybe more than 24 hours, but you've been playing a lot of it. Anyway. In the end, I suppose it wasn't especially relevant to what you were playing, but I'm sure everyone watching you are also keen to see some Monster Hunter. Maybe not from me, but keen to see some Monster Hunter generally speaking. Sadly, we've only got 2 people here at the moment in this game. I don't know if any of... Yeah, catch you later, Baines. Thanks for the raid, I suppose. For anyone who is unaware, this is the official Capcom server on the Wii U. There's basically no one playing, it's just me and N10. Technically speaking, N10 has saved the live stream. I'm only going to go for... I'm going to do one more hunt. This is my last hunt today. But technically he saved the live stream. He saved me from cutting it short, because I would have had no choice but to do that if he were not here, because Jack had to disappear. Who knows, maybe Hot One is still lurking around, skulking around. Fucking Hot One. But, I don't know, would I have been desperate enough to continue the live stream that I would actually go and play with him after telling Jack to kick him the last time? I would suggest not. That's the way I would look at it. I'm looking at it from a logical perspective, yeah. Ice element, obviously. I'm not obliged to equip an ice weapon, but I think that I would like to. How about an ice lance? Ice awaken lance, what's that? Idian crown. Never mind. Maybe no, I don't want to use the Barrioth lance either. Okay, well that's ice lance out of the equation. I don't know. Maybe that whole... The whole notion of me not wanting to use those two weapons may be difficult for people to understand, but I don't know. I'm not in the mood to use those two weapons. I feel like I've used the Idian crown too much in the past, and I'm not in the mood to use the Barrioth lance because I think I recently used it, I think probably in the last recording that I did of this game, and so I just don't feel like using them. It's just how it is. I would sooner change weapon types entirely to avoid using them. How about ice hammer? Do I have an awaken ice hammer? I don't think so. I may check, but I do have a distinct feeling that I don't have an awaken ice hammer. The distinct feeling originates from the fact that I have no conscious recollection of having crafted such a weapon, but maybe I do have one. I'm not fucking seeing one. Onslaught, that's it. That's it. Sometimes your ability to remember things does not cohere with the reality of the situation. This would be one such example. Oh, I used to use the Jade Barrioth hammer. In fact, that may be my ice hammer, to be honest. I agree that it's sort of crap, but it's enjoyable. I think it has its merits. It's just not that great of a hammer, I guess. Welcome to the chat, Shun Crone. I'm assuming you're not a renamed A Gaming. What is that symbol next to your name? Let me check. I have to compare your account creation dates. Okay, you are different people, good. The only person I've ever seen with that icon next to their name is A Gaming, one of my frequent viewers. Yes, welcome to the chat. That's what I needed. I needed cool drinks. Not the... Yes, I do realise that I don't need them for this hunt, but if I recognise that I have a small number of cool drinks, and then fail to realise that when I depart on a quest that does require them in the future, I would be regretting that. I'd rather address any issue, I suppose, with my inventory while I'm aware of it. So that way I don't forget and have it cause problems in the future. Poison and ice, fair enough. I don't use the hammer frequently enough. I realise that. It is also worth mentioning that there is a bit of a monster-sized lottery when it comes to hammering a Zenogre comfortably. You can fight a number of Zenogre sizes that are too big to comfortably upswing the head. This one seems like a standard size, maybe slightly bigger. Might be fine to upswing the head, let's find out. Well, I was a little off target anyway, but I do think that the head's a little too fucking tall for an upswing. You can see what I'm talking about, can't you? No, it's a charity badge from a Twitch event, I see. Pretty well. Super Pounds, needless to say, probably not that great for him. See, even in a situation where he lowered his head for me there, I wasn't able to get it on target. Oh, fuck's sake, that's purely my fault. That's not the fault of the monster. That upswing attempt was just bad. Of course, because I don't use hammer very often, I am out of practice with it. There was a time when I was pretty fucking good at hammering in this game. That is not the way things are now. I can hack it every now and again, but I think this one is a little too big for head upswinging. I also am inclined to suggest that the upswing hitbox was better in Portable Third, because I seem to be able to upswing Zenoga heads with much less difficulty in that game as compared to 3 Ultimate. Here we go, that's a head opportunity if I've ever seen one. Oh god, finally got my first KO hit, I think. Hopefully my second. If it was my first, then that's rather embarrassing, but I have a sneaking suspicion that it was my first. That is not how you build up KO damage. The second one has arrived. We'll paintball the first one. And, I don't know, fucking hope that one of them leaves, I suppose. Of course, him charging his thunder is one way to get a build-up of KO. Oh, there you go. Good timing on the golf swing, fortunately. Just keeping the DPS up at this stage. I will attack the head as frequently as I can, but sometimes really aggressively aiming for the head can compromise one's DPS. Oh, here we go, head opportunity, yes. Now, don't you fucking interrupt this. Very good, you get out of here, man. Ugh. Can't believe you got me with that. What were you grinding? Are you playing 3 Ultimate as well, P-Berry? I forgot what game you've been playing recently. I can get that golf swing, there you go. Golf swing. Upswing, rather. Imagine if a golf swing could be unleashed so quickly and so reliably. Can you actually fuck off? Stupid Ludroth bastard. I was not even close to being anywhere near you when you began that attack, and yet it was right on target with me. Well, if I thought I'd be able to roll out of the way of that, I'm sure N10 was of very much the same opinion. Can I upswing in time? Yes. Yes, I can. I think what I will do is sharpen my weapon. I apologize that I have yet to get a successful KO, but doing my best, I guess. Fuck off, man. There are only 2 of us, so it's a bit harder to get the... or whatever you call it. Whetstone sharpening animation out. No, not quite right. I think I did get the flinch there, which would suggest that lag compensation dealt the damage, but was it a KO? I don't know. Oh, you stole one of my KOs. I thought you just knocked him down. I see, I didn't realize it. See, I thought it was one of those trips. Are you saying that that was a KO that time? Alright. Strange that I didn't notice it. Maybe I was just so convinced in my own mind subconsciously that it was too early for a KO that I just assumed it was a knockdown. Anyway, I'm glad we got a KO. I think it would be inaccurate to say that you stole the KO. The KO belongs to everyone. There's nothing wrong with everyone contributing to it. For it benefits the entire team. The entire team being 2 whole people. You really are an annoying bastard. Speaking of annoying bastards, there's one right over there. I spy an irritant. Yes, I do. Oh, you're playing a game called Deep Rock Galactic. Never fucking heard of it. Anyway, here I was thinking it was Monster Hunter. I think the phrase alongside me is what made me think that you were playing a Monster Hunter game at least. And perhaps most accurately, given what you said, 3 Ultimate, but... oh, go away. See, I can't get a comfortable super pound out here because you're doing that. And now, I'm being pulled into the flow of this fucking monster that's my real target. May as well collect this shiny. Might get a Sky Emerald, right? Anyway. I'm assuming he did go in this direction. It did seem that he was going to run over here, but... yeah, anyway. That was a pretty clean application of Might Seed / Demon Drugs. No, it's not going to be a Demon Drug. That lasts for the whole fucking life of the character. Oh, there's a head opportunity that I'm missing out on again. That's my second missed opportunity on the head during a knockdown. That's why we haven't had 2 fucking KOs yet. Of course, it's very important to sustain KO build-up, otherwise you don't get your KOs off at all. It starts to run out. It drains away. Who did... I don't even know what flinched me there. Get these jaggies out of here, please. Missed my bloody golf swing. I'm seeing flailing monster limbs and not a whole lot of anything else. And now he limps out of this area. Good for you. Maybe the poison will kill him. Wouldn't that be nice? I almost never get to see poison kill a monster. Even in the games where it was really strong, I very rarely see that. Almost lost an opportunity again to get KO damage on the head. I'm not carving you, no way. Not doing it. I've got way too many material. Oh, this is going to be a beautifully sized Zenoga for upswinging. Beautifully sized. This one's particularly small, I think. I don't think it's just comparing the size of the previous one to this one that makes me think that. This one is smaller than average. Or I could be just comparing the sizes in the way that I just said that I wasn't. Ooh. Not very good timing or positioning for that super pound, but I tried. Well, can I get the super pound on that face? Not quite. That's what I was fucking banking on, baby. Doesn't always pay off, but I went for it and I got it. Okay. Yes, I do apologise for the fact that I am out of practice with hammer. It has to be expected. And you guys know this. I use hammer as frequently, or rather infrequently as I do on camera, with the understanding that I should be using it for the sake of, you know, at least using this weapon for your entertainment. Imagine how infrequently I use it in my own time. I'm just, yeah. I don't know what it is. It's a laziness. I used to really go for the hammer back in Try. And then I continued to use it in Freedom Unite when I returned to that game after really cutting my teeth as a Monster Hunter player in Try. And that's just how it was, but then, you know, I entered my casual phase, and after that I wouldn't go so far as to say that I had a falling out with the hammer as a weapon type, but I lost interest in it. It just requires a little bit too much effort. It's that incentivization of aiming for a specific part of the monster, which I actually don't especially want to do. I don't have to only aim for the head with the hammer, I realise that, but I feel that it is my duty as the hammer user to build up KO as aggressively and effectively as possible. And so I continue to do it. And that's why I don't use hammer very much. That's how it is. Some people absolutely love the experience. I'm a little less that way. Thank you for maintaining KO build-up. It is good of you. But again, it's not just a form of charity for my benefit. As previously mentioned, it is for the benefit of the whole team that the monster has its KO. Okay, the game decided not to register my button inputs. But yes, it's for the benefit of all that the monster gets KO'd. Give me my turnaround golf swing, baby. No, he's not turning around. That's alright. I'm setting it up in case it pays off. In case it pays off. Because he has a quick turnaround, you see. he would have done a quick turnaround in time for my golf swing if he decided to turn around and face me, which he didn't. Now, I can't guarantee that my positioning was correct, but I'm pretty sure the timing was all right. Maybe I was a little too close for the head to have been in position for that. Oh god. He was turning to face me, and then something weird happened and he ended up not facing me. There you go. That would be one example of what it means to upswing a baby Zenogre. There's another example. Not very good. I'm going to do a spinning golf swing. And I'm going to hope that I don't get a KO with one of the smaller hits. Oh, I fucked up the timing! I'm used to second gen timing, damn it. You have to wait just a little bit longer in third and fourth gen when you're doing the spinning golf swing. Throws me off. Damn it. I couldn't see the progress of my charge because it is not distinct from the background. There's a really bright floor right now and I couldn't see my character charge. And he's limping. Haven't even gotten a fucking KO, can you believe this? It's enough to make me regret bringing the hammer at all. You know the game that I enjoy using the hammer in the most? Fucking... well, not just game, generation. First generation. It's because there's no KO. So I don't feel pressured to aim for the head constantly. I can aim for it when it's convenient. Oh, how the hell did you manage that? It didn't even look like you were doing one of the KO attacks of the Sword and Shield. Oh, go away. Oh, shit. Anyway. Good KO. We got it in the end, at least. Yeah, I'm not a hammer guy. I have to admit it. I don't like saying I'm not a hammer guy because I used to be. You know, it feels natural to use the hammer, even now. But I don't enjoy it anymore. So, yeah. I guess the hammer would be one example of a weapon type that I just don't use anymore. Even though I did at one time, I wouldn't say main it, but I used to really get in there and try to learn how to hammer each individual monster as efficiently as possible. But I guess it is also worth saying that I don't gun as much as I used to as well. You guys will notice that. I don't gun very much at all. I used to be a gunner main. I would comfortably say that as a G-rank hunter, I was a gunner main. But I almost never use it these days. Got a Jasper. Now, that I can't really explain. I can't actually explain why I don't use bowgun as much anymore. It's not any more difficult to use a gun. I just feel like maybe I did get burnt out with gunning. I think I did too much of it, and now I feel that the more enjoyable experience is to use a weapon, and then if I want something a little different from using a physical melee weapon, I'll use a gun. My infrequent use of bow is consistent across all games, however. I have never been someone to pull out a bow regularly. And that would be because I have always preferred a gun to a bow in Monster Hunter. It's nothing personal, bow. It's just that there's something that's also ranged that I prefer. But bow has its place and I do enjoy using it from time to time. Every time I use bow, especially because I have nothing against the bow weapon type, because I use it so infrequently, I enjoy it very much whenever I go back to it. But yes, that was my last hunt. N10 will likely move on. I don't think there's anywhere else to go, sadly, but thank you for joining me, of course. If you see Hot One, give him hell for me, will you? Please. We need to work as a team. I need to get Tavo Show on board as well. If myself, N10, and Tavo Show, as a triarchy of anti-cheater principle, seek to make Hot One's life a living hell, he may just make a new character. and then either not cheat, or cheat in a slightly less obvious fashion. Anyway, I do thank you all for watching. I will bid you all farewell for the moment. I'm glad that I was able to play 3 Ultimate, and I will see you when I'm next recording whatever I happen to be recording that you would like to watch. Bye bye for now.